We have September 16th, Board of Control. Will the clerk call the roll?
Calling the roll for the Monday, September 16, 2024 Board of Control meeting. It is 11 a.m. We have Levine Ross serving as an alternate for Meredith Turner.
Present.
Councilmember Dale Miller.
Present.
Joseph Nani serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones Jr.
Here.
Melanie Say serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Catherine Gallagher serving as an alternate for Chris Renee, County Executive.
Here.
Michael Chambers, Fiscal Officer, serving as Chairman.
Here.
Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the review and the approval of the minutes from September 9th. I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Miss Melanie Say. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Let's go to our first item.
First item, new item for review, BC 2024-655, Department of Public Works requesting authority to apply for grant funds from the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Aviation Administration in the total amount not to exceed $1,025,553 for items A1 and 2 and submitting grant agreements in connection with said applications as listed in items B1 and 2 on the printed agenda.
Good morning. Paul Sturman on behalf of the Department of Public Works. These are two separate grants. These are grant applications to receive funds from the FAA for the design phase of a larger project, which will be the shifting of taxiway A, essentially 5 feet from its current center line to get up to date with new FAA standards. It'll be a whole reconstruction of the taxiway itself, A, and the connectors, which are also known as fillets. So that's why you'll see taxiway A and taxi lane B connectors on the item. The second item is for the extension of taxiway B toward Richmond Road to extend for the future use for additional hangars to potentially be built and for our tenant FlexJet, who has some tie downs of their aircrafts in that area. So these are funds to be distributed by the FAA and our acceptance of those funds.
Okay, and I see 90% and then 5. Okay, great. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-656, Department of Public Works submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to APG Office Furnishings in the amount not to exceed $53,789.54 for a joint cooperative purchase of various furniture and fixtures, installation and design services for their tear down and relocation of various furniture, and build out of 4 new offices on the 7th floor of the County Administrative Headquarters for the Department of Housing and Community Development, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, everyone. Tom Pavich, Public Works. This is a purchase order with the APG. This is for reconfiguration of cubicles and offices for the Community Housing Development Department on the 7th floor. The procurement method is a joint cooperative through Omnia Partners, which those are previously bid and or negotiated.
Thank you, Mr. Pavich. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Levine Ross. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-657, Department of Public Works, Division of Public Utilities, recommending an award and submitting an agreement with the City of Euclid in the amount not to exceed $50,000 for assistance with the permitting process and facilitating connections with businesses in its industrial core for the Euclid Microgrid Design Project, effective upon contract signatures of all parties through February 28, 2026.
Mike Foley, Department of Public Works. This is through an earmark we were able to receive from Senator Brown to help us do engineering and design work out for this Euclid microgrid. As part of that, we're working with the City of Euclid and are contracting with them to help us with finding customers, doing permitting, just working through all the logistics of designing this in the City of Euclid.
Thank you, Mr. Foley. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Yes.
Councilman, please.
So, does part of this pay for the cost of the permits, or are we paying Euclid to do the permitting process? What exactly are we paying for?
So there's a number of industrial customers out in the City of Euclid who we've been talking to, who they've been helping us facilitate meetings with. There's also, we're trying to figure out where underground distribution lines are going to be going. So you've got streets and areas where we're going to need to dig up lines at some point, dig up roads at some point. They're helping us with all of that, basically, thinking through, all right, what are the best logistics to put distribution lines, who are the best customers to talk to and deal with. So it's kind of having their development staff is going to be working with us on this project just to kind of work out the logistics of all that stuff. They won't be paying for the for the permits themselves. The projects will be paying for the permits themselves.
So, isn't this stuff that they would just normally do through their regular course of business?
I'm not sure, Councilman. I know that they've been really helpful to us, and we wanted to, we've got money through this grant to have them pay for some other staffing. Basically their staff wouldn't necessarily help us with this microgrid project. So this is above and beyond what they would normally do. And this is there's a learning curve for them as well. So it's to assist them to assist us, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Jonani. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-658, Department of Public Works recommending an award on RQ 14749 and submitting a contract with Cook Paving and Construction Company Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $273,386 to construct micro-mobility parking stations at various locations in the city of Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, East Cleveland, South Euclid, and University Heights, Ohio.
Good morning, Eric Mack, Public Works. This is to install 94 bike rack systems at 5 different communities across the county. We received a federal grant from NOACA to pay for all of this. It's a total $284,200 grant, and we are spending $273,000.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mack. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next, item BC 2024-659, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Carasoft Technology Corporation in the amount not to exceed $71,673.54 for the purchase of various Smartsheet project management software subscriptions and support for the period July 31st, 2024 through August 20th, 2025, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT has read into the record Smartsheet is an IT standard used for project management tracking. It's already in use. This is a renewal subscription. Besides the dates for the exemption, we also received joint co-op pricing.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Joseph Nani. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next, item BC 2024-660, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $10,439.20 for the purchase of 116 cables in various types, 1 portable lockbox, 6 modules, and 1 Cisco voice interface card for installation at 1801 Superior Avenue, Cleveland, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan again with the Department of IT. These cables from M&J are associated with a prior hardware purchase that was also through M&J. The exemption is the hardware to match and the cables to match. On top of that, we also had state term pricing on the cables.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Item approved. Next item.
Next, item BC 2024-661, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $5,200 for a state contract purchase of 4 Meraki wireless access points at 1801 Superior Avenue, Cleveland, and 4 Meraki MR Enterprise Cloud Controller licenses for a period of 5 years, effective Board of Control approval, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan again with Department of IT. This purchase through M&J is via state term, and the Meraki access points and the licenses are IT standards throughout the county.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item, please? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Levine Ross. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next, item BC 2024-662, Department of Information Technology on behalf of the Department of Public Works submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $362,147.60 for a state contract purchase of 30 each Cisco Catalyst 9300L Ethernet network switches, 30 network architecture Advantage licenses for a period of 3 years, 50 transceivers, and related accessories for use at 1801 Superior Avenue, Cleveland, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This equipment through M&J via state term scheduling is for the networking installation at the location 1801 Superior. Both M&J and another quote we received from TEC, they're both Cisco certified. M&J was lower by $76,000.
Good difference. Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next, item BC 2024-663, Department of Information Technology, on behalf of the Public Defender's Office, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to MNJ Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $6,074 for a state contract purchase of 3 HP Z2 G9 workstations, each to include HP Care Pack hardware support, 5-year extended warranty, HP Absolute Data and Device Security for education professional subscription licenses, 3 Samsung monitors, and 1 Kingston Fury Renegade solid-state drive, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This is an IT standard via M&J state term scheduling.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Joe Nani. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item?
Next, item BC 2024-664, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to TEC Communications Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $117,860 for joint cooperative purchase for the renewal of various Google Mandiant software subscriptions and support effective September 24, 2024 for a period of 12 months, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This is used for incident response by the Emergency Cyber Incident Response Services, and this received GSA pricing.
Thank you again, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next, item BC 2024-665, Department of Law submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Bricker Graydon LLP in the amount not to exceed $7,000 for various legal services related to the tax increment financing program proposed by the City of Cleveland in connection with the Shore to Core project and potential revenue sharing agreements for the period December 8th, 2023 through project completion, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption, and submitting an amendment to said contract to change the terms of the original contract effective April 23rd, 2024 by changing the amount of compensation from $7,000 to $12,000.
Thank you. Yeah, we engaged the Bricker Graydon law firm to help us better understand the overall impact of this tax increment financing program that the City of Cleveland was putting together, and in a couple of cases help us to react to a couple of things. And initially, we had some time getting this actually through our system because they used to be Bricker and Eckler. Now they're Bricker Graydon, so it took a while to get that name change worked out through our approval process. And then once we went over the original $7,000 amount, I've been working with the prosecutor's office on these, and they had to go back through a process to increase the dollar amount. So it's a little bit why we're not timely here. So I ask for your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Huth. Are there questions from the board on this one? Mr. Nani, please.
Just out of curiosity, it mentions also potential revenue sharing agreements. Can you explain what that means a little bit more?
Sure, to the chairman. If, for example, a community was putting a TIF in place that was impacting, say, our inside millage, we might be able to work out an agreement with them where they would use some other resources to help us make up some of the difference that would not be coming to the county. So that wasn't the case here, but it's something that we were able to understand better through this engagement.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next, item BC 2024-666, correcting to read by adding social to the name of the school. Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division submitting an amendment to a contract with Case Western Reserve University Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences for evaluation services of the Safe Harbor docket programs for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2026, and replace the insurance requirements effective July 1st, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $47,840.
Good morning, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court. This is a contract amendment to provide evaluation services for the Safe Harbor docket. and this is 100% funded by the Reclaim Grant.
Thank you, Sharon. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-667, Medical Examiner's Office submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Fisher Scientific Company LLC in the amount not to exceed $9,077.12 for a joint cooperative purchase of 94 various Class A certified glass flasks for routine testing and analysis, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. This is a result of finding in our latest accreditation visit that the standards, the international standards had been changed, and not all of our glassware in the laboratories was up to code, so we had to get some replacement.
Thank you, Hugh. Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Levine Ross. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-668, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Caseware Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $16,650 for the purchase of 9 user licenses for a data sharing platform for use by the Ohio Fusion Center Network for the period October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. And Caseware is the software that is used by all 3 fusion centers in the state of Ohio to collect, analyze data, and as well as share reports. So these 9 licenses are going to be used by our fusion center. This is grant funded, and the state of Ohio has approved this award.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Melanie Say. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-669, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with the Place for Me Collaborative for independent living skills training for youth and young adults ages 14 to 21 for the period September 30th, 2023 through September 29, 2024, to extend the time period to September 29, 2025, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $64,000.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. The mission of A Place for Me is to prevent or alleviate youth homelessness in Cuyahoga County. One of the ways to do that is provide financial capability to our youth who have been or are in our foster care system. Through the Opportunity Passport Program, youth are given training on financial literacy and are then given an opportunity to match their savings for designated assets such as vehicles, education expenses, housing, microenterprise, or debt reduction.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Joseph Nani. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-670, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Haven Child Development and Enrichment Center, LLC, in the amount not to exceed $9,160 for scholarship for students previously enrolled in the Universal Pre-Kindergarten Scholarship Program as of July 5th, 2024, for the period August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2025, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Invest in Children. Earlier this year, we issued an RFP for our Universal Pre-Kindergarten Program, and we received over 100 proposals. Unfortunately, we could not fund everyone, and based on the scoring, not all previous providers were awarded. This vendor and the next 2 on this agenda had some UPK kids on scholarship. We did not want to impact the family's ability to send their children to their chosen child care center, so we are awarding a year's worth of scholarships to alleviate the impact and allow families to make arrangements for the future. This vendor has 2 children on scholarship.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2024-671, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in award recommendation to Maple Heights City School District and the amount not to exceed $4,902 for scholarships for students attending Abraham Lincoln Elementary School and previously enrolled in the Universal Pre-Kindergarten Scholarship Program as of July 5th, 2024, for the period August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2025, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Again, this is the second vendor we awarding scholarship funds to alleviate the impact on families. This vendor also has 2 kids on scholarship.
Thank you again. Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-672, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Kitty City Child Care Community Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $45,991 for scholarships for students previously enrolled in the Universal Pre-Kindergarten Scholarship Program as of July 5th, 2024, for the period August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2025, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
This is the last vendor of previously funded UPK sites that will be getting scholarship funding. They have 12 former UPK kids on scholarship.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Yes, just one. Did we fund any new sites for?
Yes, we did. We have, I don't have that exact number of new sites, but we did fund a total, I believe, of 49 UPK sites.
And there were a total of 3 current sites that were not funded, is that
There were actually more. We tried to do this with some other vendors, but those vendors were not responsive in returning their documentation in, so.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-673, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Mental Health Services Incorporated for homeless persons DBA Frontline Service for coordinated intake services in connection with the Continuum of Care program for the period January 1st, 2023 through January 31st, 2025, to amend the terms of Exhibit 2 budget effective upon signatures of all parties and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $500,000.
Good morning, Erin Reardon, Office of Homeless Services. This is an amendment to our contract with Frontline Service. They offer coordinated entry, which is the front door for anybody needing homeless services throughout the continuum of care. This is very late. We were significantly delayed in receiving our grant agreement from HUD, and that's the reason for the delay.
Thank you, Aaron. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Levine Ross. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-674, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Case Western Reserve University Center on Urban Poverty and Community Development in the amount not to exceed $40,000 to provide research, data analysis, and consultation services in connection with the Continuum of Care competition program and the Income and Stability Pilot Project for those experiencing homelessness for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Morning, Erin Reardon, Office of Homeless Services again. This is a contract with Case Western. They are providing, as Cheryl specified, data analysis and an overview of our Income and Stability Pilot Project. And that is where we are looking to promote cross-system usage between people who are involved in homeless services and workforce development.
Thank you, Aaron. Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved. Before we go on to the next item, did I approve 666 as amended? I'm beginning to think I did.
No, you did not.
I did not do that. If we don't mind, can we go back to 666? I apologize. We added the word social into the thing, so I want to go back and make a motion to approve that item as amended to add the word social. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve as amended, say aye.
Aye.
The item is approved as amended. Thank you. All right, Chair, let's go on to our next item.
Next, item BC 2024-675, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in award recommendations to Joseph's Home, DBA Joseph and Mary's Home, in the amount not to exceed $267,547 for temporary housing and supportive services for medically fragile men experiencing homelessness for the period July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Morning, Erin Reardon again. This is a contract with Joseph's Home. They provide medical respite, so for men who are exiting the hospital or some kind of medical situation who are not yet ready to go into shelter, they provide that temporary kind of transition space for them.
Thank you, Aaron. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Melanie Say. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Oppose? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2024-676, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Case Western Reserve University, the Begun Center for Violence Prevention, Research and Education, and the amount not to exceed $190,000 for research, planning, and independent evaluative services of its Second Chance Act Pay for Success initiative, effective upon contract signatures of all parties through October 31st, 2027, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again. Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of the Office of Reentry. The Office of Reentry applied for and was awarded a grant through the Bureau of Justice Assistance for the Second Chance Grant with the goal of reducing recidivism and achieving housing, education, and employment advancement among restored citizens. Case Western will provide research, planning, and independent evaluation services for its Pay for Success initiative. The evaluators will assess both the process and impact of contract and service activities.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Yes.
Councilman, please.
So, is this a county pay for success program or are we just providing some support?
This is through the county, yes.
And could you describe the overall program?
So my understanding is that transition specialists will meet with and conduct assessments for those who are about 90 days out of being released from prison, and to provide the services once they are released to help them achieve these goals.
And who are the investors?
That I do not understand. I don't believe it's a traditional pay for success program like we have the coaching for Ohio National Guardsmen with Macomb Capital as the investors. I don't believe this is exactly like that. I do not have any information about investors, so that's why I hesitate to say that it's a traditional pay for success program.
So, could you provide me at a future time,
Sure.
just send me a report with a brief description of the pay for success model that's being used
Yes.
for this program?
Absolutely.
Okay, that'd be great.
Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Moving on to consent agenda items BC 2024-677 through BC 2024-680.
Board members, it's not too many items here. If there's any questions, feel free. Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Today's consent agenda items are approved. Moving on to other business.
No other business?
Public comment?
No public comment?
I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Miss Melanie Say. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.